Hello, my name is Ginger Travis. I teach 7th and 8th grade math intervention at Drakes Creek Middle School in Bowling Green, Kentucky. My project is entitled Reaching Diverse Learners in a Student-Centered Classroom. During my pre-service education, I thought I would have a traditional classroom. The classroom where the teacher stands at the front of the room at the board and lectures to students. The students sitting in orderly rows and columns would dutifully take notes and transfer the knowledge they gained to formative, summative, and state-mandated assessments. This was me during my first year of teaching. I spent a great amount of time at the front of the classroom while my students took notes or performed activities. It was exhausting and I did not see very many of my students making progress. According to the 2012-2013 school report card for Drakes Creek Middle School, the racial diversity school-wide is 75% white, 5.4% Hispanic, 5% African American, 8.5% Asian, 3.5% two or more races, and 0.2% Native American or Pacific Islander. Among all of my classes, the racial diversity is 65% white, 11% Hispanic, 11% African American, 7% Asian, 4% two or more races, and 2% Native American or Pacific Islander. As for socioeconomic diversity, school-wide, 33.6% of students receive free or reduced free lunches, and 6.4% receive reduced lunches. Among all of my classes, a total of 56% of students receive either free or reduced lunches. According to an article written by Mary Ellen Weimer, the 5 characteristics of a learner-centered teaching or learner-centered classroom are 1. The learner-centered teaching engages the students in the hard, messy work of learning. 2. The learner-centered classroom provides explicit skill instruction. 3. Encourages students to reflect on what they are learning and how they are learning it. 4. Motivates students by giving them some control over the learning processes. And 5. Encourages collaboration. Furthermore, Michael M. Grant adds the characteristics of teacher as facilitator and integration of technology into the learner-centered classroom. I'm not quite sure how it has happened, but I have found myself somewhere I never thought I would be, teaching in a student-centered classroom. This is my classroom today. Students work at their own pace through lessons. Instruction is provided through technology. Activities are designed to reinforce concepts learned in individual lessons. Students work collaboratively to solve problems and derive solutions, and I'm very rarely at the board and now only the facilitator in this classroom. This video is a sped-up version of what happens at the beginning of every class. When students come into my classroom, they retrieve their individual binders from the shelves and immediately begin working on the daily warm-up. The daily warm-up consists of 5 questions based on either the unit they've been working, integers for example, or content which students need extra practice on, such as order of operations. When they all have answers checked off for me, they get their their computers, and begin working on individual lessons for the day. For the students who struggle with the warm-up, I provide individual instruction to help the students find the correct answers. I do not go over the warm-up with the class as a whole at the front of the room. They work on their own and in their own time. Students are actively engaged in the lessons through the computer-directed instruction. They must take notes on the lessons as opposed to passively watch the computerized instruction. Skills are demonstrated and practiced through the computerized instruction. I assign a unit of lessons to the students, and the students access them on laptops with web-based software. The software aligns with the Common Core standards for middle school math. Students also have the opportunity to practice their math facts through separate computer game-based software. At the end of each lesson, students must take a mastery test. This is where students can show what they have learned in the lesson or where they are still struggling. If they answer all the questions correctly, they are deemed to have mastered the lesson and can move on to the next lesson. If they miss a question, however, they will receive a message saying that they have not mastered the lesson and cannot move on until I discuss with the student why they missed the question, what they missed, and why they missed the question. This is the time where students reflect on their learning and where their misconceptions lie. The computerized lessons in the curriculum are set up such that students take a diagnostic pretest before each lesson. Students are motivated in this classroom by the ability to skip a lesson if they pass the diagnostic pretest. This ability allows students some control over which lessons they must view. The students sometimes compete with each other to see who can get the most past diagnostics during the class period. It is not uncommon for many students to be working on many different lessons at one time. Collaboration is highly encouraged and often required in my classroom. Students participate in different activities to reinforce the unit's objectives. These activities can be using a card game to practice integers, or sending Lego cars down a ramp to gather data to create back-to-back stem and leaf plots. Students collaborate to share their information and ideas and to formulate solutions to problems. The result of this type of learning can be shown in measurable results. These pictures show our star boards. Each student created a star Each student created a star, and after each star test, I placed the students' stars approximately where they scored on the star board. There is considerable difference in the star board from August to the star board in September. In conclusion, I would have to say that even though I never thought I would be here in the student-centered classroom, I never want to leave. I truly do not feel that I'm teaching except on a one-to-one basis. Students are learning 21st century skills, and I'm developing relationships with the students. I now cannot imagine teaching any other way. Thank you.